Alright, I was looking on YouTube and I found a couple of videos on inward screaming and they pissed me off. Not a big fan of inward screaming. It's the only way I can scream, so if anybody watches this, they know how to do some outwards, probably put a video on, help me out so I can actually learn how to do a proper scream. But I'm going to be doing a video on inward screams. Of course, since it's inward, it's a lot different than, when you're pissed off and you're screaming out. But it's not trying to force a lot of air in. It's not trying to get a good bellow. Actually, my screams are just kind of softer than most. I just try to make my throat a little more hollow. I'll explain that in a second. But for the basics of an inward scream, first thing you want to do is just, as everybody else says, you breathe out, you talk. Inward scream, just breathe in, and once you're able to get a small burst of air, see if you can hold it in, hold it, lock it, and just bring in a constant stream of air back into your throat. And again, it's not supposed to be a lot of air. I barely bring any in. I'm trying to get as little air as possible without it being nothing. I'm expanding my throat to make into. Let's just develop where you want it. Do you want a high pitch like Danny Filth? Well, he's not inward, but high pitch like Danny Filth, or do you want mids, which would be pretty much any screamo band? You'd have Children of Atreyu being mids. Of course, there's certain types, certain sounds, but that general area, you got Lamb of God, false chord. That's false chord screaming, but that would be mids. Or you can get Cannibal Corpse death growls or Job for a Cowboy pig squeals. Now, there's of course more styles, more ways to do it, more bands that do that, but those are the few examples I can think of now. To do these, I can go through a quick way of going about them. Easiest one I'd have to say would be the pig squeal. To do the pig squeal, just once you've got everything down, flip your tongue all the way up, and as you suck in, just kind of say "uri." It pretty much does itself once you have your tongue flipped up. But if you were to if you do it right, it just goes "uri, uri, uri, uri." And that's pretty much the pig squeal. You can, pig squeals use words, but most of the time you can't tell what they say. You got your growls, which mine I don't think sound too good, but your growls when you're doing inwards, about low they can get without them fucking up your throat or just. So try to move your throat down. You can flip your tongue up as well. It kind of helps out, but there's going to be no upper overtone with it. You're not going to have that high pitch like you do with a pig squeal. Your throat's going to move down. You're going to try to create a hollow echo in your throat. So when you move your larynx down, it's just going to make a. I don't know if you can hear it, but there sounded like there was something caught in my throat. That's how it should sound. Some bands break themselves away from that, but that's how it should sound. You've got your mids. I learned my mids just by talking in. They're the first thing I learned. They went through various stages. They sucked horribly at first. They were like when I don't remember how old. I really don't remember learning screaming, but when they were however old, I just did them. They sounded like crap, but I did them, and eventually they developed. They got decent. So just to do it, the only thing I can say is breathe in and talk.
So it sounds like this. You may have to enunciate more, but this is pretty much the general way to do it.
Not too much need for that. You can get it to sound a little more angry, powerful, because instead of just
talking in, you can talk like put a little more into it.
It's all how you move your throat. And then you've got your highs. I can get a, I don't know if I'll wake my parents up, but I can get a pretty high one. It's the exact opposite of death. Larynx moves down with the death growl. When you get high, your larynx is going to move up. But I have problems with highs. I can do them pretty well, but they hurt my throat, kind of. If I do them after a while, they won't hurt it to where I can't use my throat. I've never gotten hoarse from them. But I can feel it. I can feel like I did something, which is kind of bad when you scream. I can go, or even, I can go, but that's kind of gay. So don't, you want some type of not gay in there. So, again, move your larynx up, breathe in, and you'll get a nice high pitch. So, just to go through everything, the easy way to know how to do this properly is when you're doing it, you can go through everything in one motion. You can go from high to mid to low, then to a pig squeal. You go from high to mid to low, then to pig squeal. You can go to pig squeal and low, mid, high, either way. But if you can't just do it in one motion, in one breath, probably something's wrong with your technique. So, makes me feel like Melissa Cross. Either way, I'm not saying Inward Screaming is the best way to go. Inward Screaming got Trivium and Atreyu and probably some other bands to where they are. But if I were to give you some advice, I would have to say, learn to navigate through Inward Screaming. It'd probably give you a better idea of what you're doing if you want to learn Outward Screaming. But I wouldn't. You've got to practice with this so that it doesn't fuck up your throat. I feel I've probably gotten to that point because it doesn't hurt my throat at all. I am in a band. We have played some local shows. I have people ask me, am I inward or outward? I kind of take that as a compliment. And they say I'm good for an inward. And everything will sound better with a microphone if you ever do this with a band. Trust me, it sounds a lot better. But just practice it. Don't hurt yourself. If you ever get a sore throat, stop talking for a little while, like for the entire day if you can. Don't scream at all, most definitely. And do drink a lot of water. Try to stay away from Cokes when you do scream. Cokes, anything that have things that'll clog up your throat. Water seems to be the best way to go about it. Plus, it'll give it a better sound. It'll give it a much cleaner sound.